When the University of Wyoming men's basketball team hits the floor next season, they'll do so with a new head coach. I am Jesse Kurtz of the Mountain West Network, where I'm pleased to bring in the new leader of the Pokes, Jeff Linder, who is the new men's basketball coach in Laramie. Coach, congratulations on the gig and welcome to the Mountain West.
Thank you, Jesse. Excited for my return to the Mountain West after spending 6 seasons with Coach Rice of Boise State, and just very fortunate and very excited to lead the University of Wyoming and hoping to kind of get back to where they were at when I was in the Mountain West.
Yeah, no question about it. You come to Laramie after 3 straight 20-win seasons at the University of Northern Colorado. What attracted you most to this job at the University of Wyoming?
What attracted me the most was, one, I just thought it was a really good fit for me. And then the other thing were the people. And I think not just the administration, Tom Berman, the opportunity to be able to go walk over, a few hundred yards and to be able to talk to a coach like Craig Bowl, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for. And then the people of Wyoming, the pride of Wyoming. My sons play club basketball, and we play a lot of club games up here in Windsor at the Power to Play facility. And a lot of those Wyoming teams come down, and every time those teams come down, they're there because you always see everybody wearing the yellow and brown of Wyoming, whether that's a hat, whether that's a shirt. And so I'm really looking forward to tapping into that Wyoming pride, that Wyoming toughness, and making the AA the toughest home court advantage in the the United States.
You mentioned Tom Berman, the athletics director at the University of Wyoming. He said he was particularly excited about your style of play. What can Cowboy fans expect when your team hits the floor?
Well, the style of play has really kind of been a work in progress, or has evolved from my time at Boise State. When we got to Boise State back in 2010, we had our first season was going to be in the WAC, and then we were going to transition into the Mountain West. And so at that time, we knew that at Boise State we couldn't get better athletes than San Diego State, UNLV, New Mexico. So in order to kind of create an advantage, we knew that we had to win on the ground, so to speak, and not in the air. And so we went out and really tried to recruit skilled guys who could really shoot it from 1 through 5. Nick Duncan being a prime example of that, who launched a lot of threes behind the three-point line for us at the 5 spot. So we had to do something different, and that style, which was being played in Europe at the time, which then evolved and came over to the States when the Spurs kind of made it popular back in 2014-15. But it's something I've just been tinkering with and working with, and know how I want to play, and I know how to recruit to that style of play. And I think the fans of Wyoming are going to really enjoy it.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, Wyoming was very impressive at the Mountain West tournament. First ever 11 seed to win a game. They not only won 1, they won 2, beating Colorado State and Nevada. And they took the eventual champion, Utah State, to the brink in the semifinals. Curious, what impressed you most about that run, the way that the Cowboys finished the season?
What really impressed me the most was how those kids at any point in time could have decided, the season's too tough. They lost a lot of games, and it's a credit to Coach Edwards and his coaching staff to continue to just keep leading and trying to get those kids to fight. And they scratched and clawed the entire season. And I was watching afar. That's the beauty of the Mountain West and being able to play on CBS Sports Network late at night, and ESPN, to where you can watch some of those games when you're in bed. And I was really impressed by how they really finished the season. How that core group of guys, which they had a young core, the Quan Marble, who we had recruited here at the University of Northern Colorado, how he really came on. Kenny Foster, Hunter Maldonado, Hunter Thompson, TJ Taylor. I'm just really looking forward to helping them build off that momentum.
You mentioned Hunter Maldonado, by all accounts, a team leader for the Cowboys. He immediately took to Twitter and announced that he was staying and looked forward to growing under your leadership. How big was that for a team leader to say, this is where I want to be and I'm excited to play for this guy?
My number one priority was after, unfortunately, because of the coronavirus, didn't have a press conference. So really on Tuesday, I just had to go up, sign my contract, did the social media release, which in a lot of ways really allowed me to focus on what was most important. And that was to really get in front of these players, because they're not in Laramie right now because of spring break, because of the virus. And so I just got in my car knowing that 4 of those guys of that core group are from Wyoming and Colorado. So I just got in the car, headed down I-25 towards Denver, and saw Quan, saw Kenny, saw Hunter, and just made sure that they knew that where I was coming from, how my coaching style could fit them, not only on the court but off the court. And that's one thing that Coach Edwards did extremely well. I mean, they were a tight-knit group, they were a family group, and I think that was the thing that they wanted the most, was just to know that I was going to come in there and keep that family-type atmosphere.
Well, this is an unprecedented time with the coronavirus changing our way of life, at least temporarily. Curious how this will continue to change and how you'll have to adapt, at least in the short term, in taking this job and trying to get traction immediately.
My college coach, Bob Hoffman, who was at Fort Lewis when I was at Western, he was at Fort Lewis, and then when I was at Western State, he always said the great ones adjust. So you have to adjust. I mean, you have no choice. Adjust and evolve, and there's no blueprint. But like back in the old days, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have the internet, and you still had to recruit. There was a lot of really good players that a lot of coaches recruited by not having cell phones and not having the internet. So we still have the internet, we still have cell phones. So we just have to use our experience, and that's why my coaching staff's going to be huge in terms of just having those relationships that will allow us here late to go find some kids that we're going to need to have come in and play.
You mentioned your time at Boise State, 6 years, 3 of which you were the associate head coach under Leon Rice. How will that time best prepare you for what you will face next fall and next winter when you hit the floor?
I think the biggest thing is just kind of knowing how the league's built. What I tell a lot of recruits is that the Mountain West, in terms of venues to play at, is the best in the Western United States. I mean, everywhere you go, whether that's Viejas, whether that's at Boise State, whether that's the Pit, whether that's at our place, I mean, you're always going to see a college-like crowd. And in this day and age, you're not, those crowds are starting to diminish. The student sections are starting to diminish. And, that's what I'm really excited about, is getting back into those atmospheres, getting into those big games, and just seeing the energy that the Mountain West brings.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the job. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you down the line.
Thank you, Jesse.
You bet. That's Jeff Linder, the new head men's basketball coach at the University of Wyoming. For the Mountain West Network, I'm Jesse Kurtz.